Okay, everyone, I apologize. We were having tough technical difficulties. So now I am back. We are back in the meeting, and thank you for your patience. Roll call, please. Mark Anderson,
Here.
Harry Block. He's absent. Bruce Mandrick,
Here.
Jack Turner, absent today. Lily Campbell, present. And now
Madam President,
Yes.
I will note that Director Block is on the Zoom, but he has not unmuted himself. So I'm not sure what the situation is, just so you're aware.
Thank you very much. I did not see him, so thank you. So with that, we're ready to get started with our special call meeting for today, and welcome everyone. Thank all of you cabinet members for being here and those who are with us virtually. So thank you. And now we will move into public comments. Do we have public comments for today?
Madam President, no public comments have came in.
No public comments have come in. Okay, thank you. And now we move directly to the superintendent's update.
I'm going to try to make this as brief as possible and just pick out a few things. I was acknowledging that Dr. McCormick isn't with us today because she's doing the deep work with our consultants on our coherence work with our teams. We want to also make note that we're not having any study sessions today, but our work around COVID and its outcomes continues. We recently had a partnership with Sac County Supervisor Rich Desmond to offer a clinic for community testing and vaccination at COA Middle School. I've been out at all of our sites at some point and checked in, and also doing Zoom leadership check-ins. People's spirits remain high despite all the challenges everyone is facing. Also, we do have some legislative updates. AB 167 is the cleanup budget trailer bill language. There will be more information for you on this at the next meeting. There's a lot of technical things that have come through and a lot still to be figured out. And so we will continue to become expert at it as the world is as well. Also, we expect AB 361, which is a is related to the Brown Act extension. It's an urgency bill to go into effect the moment it is signed by the governor, and it allows the Brown Act to continue to be done remotely until January 2024 if we continue to stay in a state of emergency in the state. Charter renewals have been officially confirmed to be in a 2-year extension, specifically around Elk Grove. Some of our other ones had already confirmed. Tomorrow we have our central office retreat, which is our final retreat of the year. Excited to be together with many of our new hires in the central office. I continued to do the work that I committed to do in learning about the AASA National Principal Supervisors best practices in their program, as well as through the UC Davis coaching program, and have been having many opportunities to practice those skills. Also, our virtual academy is continuing to grow. We have hired a few new staff to manage that, and we'll have a better update on that when we see you again. And lastly, superintendent fall presentations will be underway starting in October. So that's my quick and brief, Madam President.
Thank you very much. And I want to congratulate GCC on having hired virtual teachers, because other districts can't hire them. They are looking for people to do that. Sac City is in really bad shape trying to hire teachers. So congratulations on that. We really appreciate the fact that we're moving ahead. Any other comments, board members? Yes, Bruce, do I see your hand?
I would like to make one last comment myself, Madam President, which is I want to acknowledge the patience of the board in the need to reschedule today's board meeting. And just, I know that you are aware, but obviously with the transition from our long-term CBO, who was with us for 9 years, to a new CBO, at the time that we hired Omira, we had at least 4 staff openings in her department. Additionally, we've had very significant issues with the consultant that we had hoped would perform at a higher level. None of these are excuses, and I take full responsibility for the fact that our unaudited actuals have been a bit rocky getting to today, but we do appreciate your patience and understanding. And I apologize for the inconvenience that has brought to the board. So just want to
And we
acknowledge that.
accept your comments, and we do understand when you're making transitions that things are going to need some work and it will take some time. So we do hope Ms. O'Meara is going to be okay with all of the work that had to be done. So we do understand that transitions do take some time. So thank you. All right. So with that, we will move into consent agenda items. And our consent agenda: adoption of GCC board retreat and regular board meeting, personnel consent agenda, purchases over 30,000, disposal and surplus of items, future high school, superintendent's employment agreement addendum 2122, board policy salary schedule movement, board policy 5-21, salary schedules revision 2021-22, and benefit contribution rates 21-22. I will now entertain a motion for the consent agenda items in a second.
So moved.
So move, Mr. Anderson.
I'll second.
Second, Bruce. Are there discussions? Discussions on any of the consent agenda items? Hearing none and seeing no hands, I will call for the vote. Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Block, Harry Block.
I'm not
I
sure what
think, yeah,
technical, there's
yeah,
still
he's
technical
not here.
difficulties.
Yes. Bruce Mandrick,
Yes.
Lily Campbell, yes. Consent agenda items have been approved by 3 board members. And now we will move into our business, item 7, the 2020-2021 unaudited actuals. Madam Superintendent, would you bring in any other comments for this
No,
item?
I do definitely want to build off of what we've said. Certainly O'Meara and some of her team have been up 24 hours a day for the last week nearly to make this happen today. Many of those items are due to circumstances beyond their control, as we already discussed. But I really want to give a nod to O'Meara and her team and cabinet who was helping to support her, that it may have been a bit bumpy, but here we are. We made this meeting, and want to confirm her dedication to making that happen.
Thank you. All right, Ms. O'Meara.
Thank you, Cindy. Yeah, I just want to follow up also with Cindy's comment, that, we take full responsibility and we're getting staffed. We just hired a director that started this week. So we're super excited to have her join the team, and hopefully things will just get better as we completely staff our department. We had a lot of dependency on the consultant that didn't deliver to our expectations. So there was a lot of errors, a lot of things that needed to be addressed. I wasn't comfortable with submitting some of the information that was given to us as completed. So here we are. So I'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen so you can see the presentation. Okay, so background and purpose of the unaudited actuals. It's the final snapshot of what happened in the given fiscal year. So it's the revenues and expenses and statement of financial position. So the balance sheet. So this is also called unaudited because after this submission, the auditors still come back and they will review all our financials and make any recommendations, if any, to any changes. And so that's why this is called the unaudited actuals. And this is required to be submitted to the oversight LEA districts. That was sent to them last night, which met their deadline of the 9/15, September 15th deadline. After that, it goes to the county office and then to California Department of Ed, CDE. Oh. Let me go back. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start off with the revenues. So there's the four biggest components, or the four components of revenue: the LCFF sources, federal, state, and then local. And then we can see the variance in LCFF sources. That really didn't change because the ADA stayed consistent. So the variance is due to prior year adjustments for the LCFF. In the federal portion, you see a huge swing from second interim to actuals. And that is due to a difference in the COVID-19 resources. So all the ESSER funding that came in initially was an entitlement, which means we could record the full amount of the grant when it's awarded to us. That accountability changed into a grant. So basically you spend, and then that's how you earn your revenue as you spend your dollars. So that was the change here, is due to the ESSER component. On the other state, on the other hand, the state usually gives out entitlements. There's some that are grants, but for the most part, we got big chunk of ELO, expanded learning opportunity grant money that was entitled. So as soon as they award it, you get to record the full amount of the revenue. So that's why you see the swing the opposite way in this category. And then the other local is just an increase in the investment gains from our investment account. Okay, so a total difference of 3 million. And again, these two components are really what made up those difference. And also just to state, the state ELO grant came in later in the year after second interim. We got that award. So that did come in late into the year. Then we have our expense categories. This is just a pie chart so you can kind of see where our dollars go. So about 70% is going to salaries, right? So that's the bulk of our expenditures. Okay. So next, we're going to talk about salaries and supplies and services. So we see that in 2020 actuals versus interim, there was a lot of savings. A lot of it had to do with the COVID-19 closures and distant learning or virtual learning. So for certificated salaries, we see that there was less assignments, sports stipends, and subs. Therefore, this caused salaries to come in a little lower. And the same thing is happening with the classified salaries, right? So due to the COVID-19 and people not being physically on site, there was a decrease in salaries. The benefits, we also show we budget the full amount of the STRS and PERS per employee. So there is some employees that are not eligible. So part of it are not eligible to receive or apply into the STRS or PERS component. So you see savings from that, but you also see savings from just the salaries not materializing to what we expected at second interim. For books and supplies, that's also due to, we have a higher amount. We have 11.8 million versus the 9.8. So the savings here is due to the non-classroom based sites that are being held harmless. So we budget an amount to meet the minimum instructional expenses. And we were held harmless last year and this year. And so you see some of that not being spent. Okay. And then for the services, we see, oh, this number is a typo. I probably should use that. So that number is much larger. It's 5 million. So we'll go on to the next page to kind of see the breakdown. Okay, so here is the breakdown of the expenses and the services. So as you can see, the general services and other is the biggest component here. Travel and conferences due to COVID. Again, a lot of these were due to the closures of the schools and working virtually. So the utilities have gone down, same with the rent, leases, and repairs. So tons of savings due to not being physically opened in our campuses. Okay, same with busing, field trips, all that, mailing, postage. So that's really where it comes down to in terms of the expenses. The fund balance, you can see from the actuals, it's the same. I think the 1965 comes in from Fund 35. And then you see the increase in the actuals of 2.4 million. That's all the savings you're seeing in the expense side. And then you're also seeing favorabilities on the revenue side. And so that comes up to 11.1 million and increasing our fund balance from second interim expectancy to 2.1 million. So that's what you can see here, that's what it's actually increasing. The actual ending non-spendable balances, those are balances you cannot spend or they're tied to the revolving cash. So this is our money in outside the treasury, our clearing account, our complete care account. So those are local accounts that are not part of the treasury. And then we also have prepaid expenditures that we have to record in the future year. Those aren't also in the as part of the fund balance. So the next steps and conclusions is that we will end up with the unaudited actuals allocating carryover dollars and ensuring that the sites know how much ESSER and COVID fundings they have left. And then we're going to do the year-end audit in October, November. That's due to CDE on the 15th, and then it will be presented to the board January, February. So the next steps for 21-22 would be the first interim budget meetings. And then that will be presented to the board in December. And then I also just want to give special thanks to our new supervisor of fiscal services, Yvonne. She was here late with me, checking work, making sure everything tied, making sure we didn't have any glitches. So I just want to give a special thanks to her for being here and helping out in this very crucial time and trying to get the books finalized and cleaned up. So, and that's it. Do you have any questions? I'm here to answer anything you might have. Yes, Bruce.
First of all, I want to thank you for a yeoman's effort. You happen to get the hardest job of a business person as your first major job, which is closing the books. And for 9 different agencies at the same time. And so I give you kudos for being able to recognize some of the things that the consultants didn't do and to correct those in a timely manner. Closing the books is always a very exciting time for business people.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a fun endeavor, actually. Not supposed to be something we dread, and that's kind of the fun piece of working in this department. But yeah, it was.
Well, really believe me, in 30 years working on that, I never found it to be very much fun. But I appreciate that outlook. That's a very good one.
But I definitely felt your sarcasm, Bruce, just so you know. I got it.
But I think it's the other beauty of budgets is they are living things. They are not absolutely static things. So the
Change.
first interim, second interim will be a lot easier now that you've been through the whole process. So again, kudos for pulling it all together in a timely fashion. And, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Mark?
No, I just wanted to say the same thing, Myra. Yeoman's job of getting this all pulled together and understand the idea that you had to burn a lot of candles to get this all done on time, which is always the challenge. So thank you very much for your hard work.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions concerning the budget that we just saw? Anything else? Yes, Mark?
No question on the budget, but how are we doing on filling the other open recs that you have, Elmira?
So we do have a purchasing vacancy. So that position we offered, she will be starting in October. So in about 2 weeks, we have extended an offer and she has accepted. And we have the 2 budget and financial analyst vacancies. So that's also a very crucial component of closing the books. And obviously, that was partly why there was a consultant, the transition, no director. And so there was just a lot of things going on, and yeah, it's just circumstantial, hopefully, and we can get through this in a better fashion for next.
And the competition for that level of employee is really strong out there, Mark. And I know Omira and Laura Berrigan in HR doing everything they can to look for qualified applicants, but we are struggling to get qualified applicants for those 2 crucial positions. I am excited to get the director on. That was good this last week, and now having the purchase person start in a few weeks, but now we're going to have to just really keep hitting it to get the other 2 positions that Omira needs.
Yeah, and it's been about 3 weeks posted and we don't have any outside candidates, which is unfortunate. We are really trying to make sure we get qualified people. And so it's been a challenge for that too.
Well, thank you. And we do have to entertain a motion to approve the unaudited actuals. Yes, Bruce?
I will move approval of the unaudited actuals.
All right. May I have
And
Mark?
I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussions? Any other questions, discussions on the unaudited actuals? Seeing none and hearing none, I will do roll call. Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Mandrick,
Yes.
Campbell, yes. The unaudited actuals have been approved by the members of the board that are here. Thank you so much. And again, Omira, thank you. And to Melissa, I know I bugged you a lot. And I do apologize, just trying to stay abreast of what's going on. So thank both of you for all of your work and all of the staff members who worked so diligently to get this done. So thank you, each of you. All right. And now that leads us down to board comments. Any other board comments at this point? Anyone? Well, again, I personally want to, number one, apologize for the glitch, the technology problems that we had this morning. And I thank you, Bruce, for taking over when I kind of failed not to be present, our vice president. So thank each of you, Mr. Sample, Dr. Peterson, Ms. Omira, Ms. Melissa, for all of the efforts and work you put in to make sure that we are on point with where we need to be. I really appreciate it. Any other board comments? Anything? No. Our next board meeting
going to be September 28th.
September the 28th, and I will be out of the state at that point. So please note that I will not be available. I will be out.
Miss Melissa will ensure that we have a quorum for that board meeting.
Thank you. All right. Madam Superintendent, any closing remarks, anything final that you want to say?
I really appreciate the board's flexibility and your positive attitude in supporting us today, and want to express my sadness that we are in fact not going to be in person in October as we had thought to be, but am definitely in the camp of wanting to protect everyone and to protect your health and safety. So we will continue to have our Zoom meetings into October, despite what we had thought in the past. That is assuming that the governor signs the AB 361, which all indication says he will. So just there will be a time when we once again are in the same room, not a Zoom room, but just know that we appreciate you very much.
Thank you. And again. All right. So with that, I will entertain a motion for adjournment at this time. Yes,
So
Ms.
moved.
Anderson. So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second. It has been moved and second for adjournment. All in favor? The aye sign.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you. Meeting's adjourned.